Now, for us, sex and orgasm are not really distinct, right? For Alicia and I, and for many of the people in the community, sex and orgasm are not really distinct. Usually, orgasm is the sort of culmination or goal of sex or something like that. But orgasm actually has the possibility, the potential to be more like a state of being, a state of body and mind. More than a state of being, a state of body and mind, something we feel. It's a state of being released and let go when we're turned on and our bodies are released and let go, as many of you experienced during your sensuality exercises last night. You get a very different level of sensation. You get a lot of feeling of release. Like if you just keep your hips relaxed and you put your attention on your genitals, I'm doing it now with you, it's fine. You know, like you get there's a good feeling, there's a feeling of release if you're relaxed. If you're not uptight, neck up, you know, like this, if we're heart open, relaxed, feeling our bodies, and there's some energy in the room or somebody we're talking to or something like that. Like we feel a lot in our bodies, much less, you know, when we're in bed with somebody. You know, when we're in bed with somebody, then if our body is relaxed and we're not in our heads, the body actually involuntarily moves. There's a little like, energy. You could call it this kind of energy or that kind of energy, but it's always related to, at least physically, related to orgasm.
Because you can ultimately accomplish more and more intense sensation by the relaxing and the pushing out. So it's a shift from how you've been doing it, and it's you're reaching, you're pushing out, and relaxed at the same time.
Right? So that's what orgasm actually is. If the first people to really define it clinically were Masters and Johnsons, and they defined it clinically instead of that orgasm was the peak of sexual excitation, which is what the dictionary says, but that doesn't say anything about it. They defined it as involuntary contractions in the genitals and darkness around the eyes and flushing and engorgement of the erectile tissue, all of these, right? But it wasn't till at least 30, 40 years later that people began to experiment and find that you could stay above that line of orgasm. You could stay in a state of release. And it was largely driven by if the muscles around the perineum, around the anus, around the genital, if those muscles, which are usually held tight, are not held tight but are pushed out, that are actually not only pushed out, but that are able to move their full, like the muscular thing that's happening during an orgasm, that you have that much range and access and consciousness and freedom of movement in that muscle, that muscle, unlike other muscles, wants to, upon sexual excitation, just wants to stay in a state of involuntarily release and contraction. That's the beginning of great sex, when you're in contact with your partner and there's that much sensitivity and sensation really throughout the whole thing, instead of it having a goal type of orientation. So that's just a little bit about orgasm to start. And I want to see what questions you have about it, because people have a lot of questions about this.